We almost ready to go?
Yep, good to go when you are.
All right. Without further ado, we'll call to order this meeting of the Joint Committee, May 9th. We'll have call to order. We have public notice. Public testimony will be taken on all agenda items as those items occur during the meeting. Can we get a roll call, Royce?
Starting off, Francis is here. Nani Blake. Dahlia Burns. I think Dahlia's here. Steven is here. Franny is not here. Diana Chun. I think I saw Diana.
I'm here.
Thank you. Ruth Cruz. Stacy Domingo.
I'm here.
Yes.
Sorry, Ruth Cruz.
Got it. Thank you.
I'm here.
Thank you, Stacy. Eddie Fujioka.
I'm here.
Thank you. Robert Fujitake. Rob, you here? Liz Greg.
Present.
Thank you. Vern Hara. G-Suk is here. Wayne Hirasa. John Holland. David Jones. Stella is not here today. She's out sick. Kalani, are you here?
Kalani's not going to make it.
Okay, thanks, Darren. Matt, are you here today? Captain Kurihara.
And
I think he's joining us a little later.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. Todd is here. Glenn, are you here?
I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Sean Kuratani.
President Royce, thanks.
Thank you. Kurt Lager.
This is Buck sitting in for Kurt Lager, Ocean Safety.
Got it. Thanks, Buck. Patrick Letty. Kimberly Lee. Alon Leong.
Sure, that says something.
Alan's on a trip.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. Shelby Lewis. Rebecca and Reed is here. David Miyazaki. Lauren Okamura.
I'm here.
Thank you. Greg Okamoto. Frank Pace. Gary Pulford. Ariel Ramos. Ariel, you here?
She's not going to make it either.
Okay, thanks, Darren. Dave Lynn, are you here? No, Dave Lynn. Tony Ramirez.
Katia and Tommy are in for Tony Ramirez.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Natasha Reese. Jeff Reeve. Calvin is here. Corey is here. Lavina is not here. Valerie Taylor. Kazula Todd. Keola Tom. Tony Velasco.
I'm here. Royce, thanks.
Thank you. Roots Appel.
Gary Pulford from MCP jumped on.
Sorry, one more time. Who was that?
Gary Pulford, PULFORD from Mission Critical Partners.
Oh, got it. Thank you, Gary.
Yep.
Roots Appel. Miranda and Barbara Wynn. Andrew Reese. And Julie Hemkes. Anybody's name I did not call?
Royce,
Hey,
this is
so,
Dave. I just joined the call.
Okay. And Greg too. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Okay, give me 1 second, Corey.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Corey. We have quorum for finance, but communications and technical we do not. But there's no decision making for those committees.
Okay, thanks, Royce. We'll just get updates from them. Good that we don't have to vote on anything. Okay. All right, moving on, folks. Could you please take a moment to review April's meeting minutes, and then we'll look for a motion to approve.
Hey, Corey, it's Tony. I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Tony. Can I get a second?
This is Rebecca. I'll second.
Thank you, Rebecca. All those in favor of approving April's joint committee meeting minutes, please say aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes. All right, we'll move on to our strategic budget plan review for fiscal year 2025 through 2029. The attachment was in the meeting invite that Roy sent out, and he'll share it now, I think. Thanks, Royce.
Is it full screen for you guys, Corey?
Yeah, looks good.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so starting off, I just wanted to, today we're not going to be approving the budget. It's more of just a discussion to hash anything out. Maybe the board has any questions, or if I didn't capture everything that the agency sent in. Reason why I kind of made it in the beginning is Eddie needs to jump off at 11:30, so if there's any questions, just let me know. I can stop on each slide, but yeah, so starting off, just the highlights, surcharge receipts, I increased it 200,000 per year. It's kind of been trending up every year, a little by little. Come FY26, we will request a permanent legislative ceiling increase. I have to submit the paperwork for that ending of this year, around October and November. That's kind of when it starts. I decreased our interest revenue by 200,000. There are going to be Federal Reserve cuts. I did talk to Central Pacific Bank. They kind of predicted that it would drop by 0.75 after all three cuts are made. But it's kind of up in the air when that will happen. They kind of predict that interest rates should remain the same till the end of the year, and we'll probably see the first cut starting in January. Next up, the BNF administrative assessment. I increased it by 0.5. Last year, I believe it went up about like 0.34. Kind of just playing it on the safer side this year, because this year we were short. but that was mainly because we're kind of how should I say? What is the word? Sorry. Um, we're kind of safe when we were making the estimates for the revenue. Revenue still remained pretty high this year. So this is just a summary page. So the forecast section, this is just estimated. I talked to all the PSAPs. I mean, this is still pending reimbursements that I'm going to be having a deadline for on May 31st. So as it stands right now, currently, we totally are, sorry, excuse me. Our expenses for the year was 10,274,668. I plan on just encumbering that 2 million and the 150,000 for the transition and the RFP consultant, just to be safe. Is there any questions on this slide? Oh, and currently after making everyone's corrections, we have 153,376 in reserve.
So Royce, the 2 million is incremental to what we currently spend on communication and maintenance, right?
No, that's separate inside in this graph. That 3 million and the 2.8 you see in communication and maintenance, that 2 million and the 150 is separate. It's not included in those sections.
Oh, yeah. So it's incremental, right, to what we are currently forecasted to spend on the current platforms, right, and systems.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Basically
Okay.
reserved. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And Royce, to clarify, that $2 million increase is specifically for the NG 911 transition, correct?
Correct. So I know Francis said that there in the last meeting he gave the update that there should be no changes in the near future, but maybe later. So maybe when we get a little bit more information to see how things are going, we can kind of get rid of that 2 million going forward outward. But for now, I'll probably just leave it there just to be safe. Because we are going to be asking for that ceiling increase from the legislature. I just don't want to cut ourselves short and then we have to go back again and ask again.
Right. And that, when you say fiscal 2026, sorry, it's next year, June, right? July?
Yes.
The state. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then I got to start doing all the paperwork for that to submit end of this year because it's going to be beginning of session next year around like January, February. Okay. So projected surcharge collection for the year is 12,328,250. Interest revenue was 1,437,512. So our encumbrance pay downs for the year projected is about 3,104,638. Unused encumbrances that's going to be returned to the board is 63,244. And our outstanding encumbrance balance should end at the year about 8.3 million. Okay, next up. So administration, the only one thing that I wanted to point out was supposed to talk about it in my executive director's report, but I kind of talked to Eddie, still having trouble procuring an auditor. I had to extend the solicitation to the beginning of next month. So in the meantime, I kind of been talking to some of the firms of why they didn't submit a proposal the first time around. Main reason why it is a lack of resources, first of all, and our contract that we sent out I have it budgeted at about 17,000 a year, but for them, for such a small job and a contract that's not very long, they're not really inclined to, or it doesn't really entice a lot of firms to pick us up. So probably next meeting, I'm probably going to request from the board to increase it to about 25 to 30,000 a year. That was just my feel from talking to some of the firms. And then I was also going to eliminate some of the option years because they want to have a more secured contract for at least 3 years. Any questions on that?
Makes sense. Yeah, I think just give us the options and we can vote on it. Thanks for
Yeah, it's just because like our operation's so small and they don't really want to waste our time like for such a small contract when they have all these bigger state agencies with like 6 to 8 year contracts. So I may extend it to like put the RFP out for like a 6 year contract and maybe make the last 2 years option years to give them like 4 guaranteed years. But I'll work with Eddie on that and I can have Stella review the RFP before I amend it again. So I'll probably do that. I'll probably amend it come June and then get the approval in the next meeting for the funding and then we can go from there. So hopefully we get an auditor by the end of the fiscal year, at least by June, ending of June.
Cool. Thanks, Royce.
And then I guess I'll just pause each slide. If you guys got questions, just let me know. I'm not too sure if everyone got a chance to look at all their numbers.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Roy.
everyone has a copy of this as well. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Royce, this is Stephen. What was the ceiling? What was the ceiling increase going to be again?
In fiscal year 2026.
26. Okay, so that'll cover that negative we have. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, so this year's budget, I kind of had to move a lot of the refreshes over to 2026 so we can actually have a reserve this year. So during legislative session, I mean, they're pretty supportive and the government operations committee, they actually made note in their committee report for WAM to help us next year increase the ceiling. So I think it's a pretty for sure thing. But it's going to be up to them how high they want to set it based on our budget. I have to give them our 5 year strategic budget and then they would make the determination.
Royce, this is Eddie. Bottom of the page, the Exacom logger login recorder for DIT. Under the current fiscal FY24, wasn't there a refresh that was going to be pushed to another fiscal year? Or is that correct, the numbers?
I believe those numbers are correct. I think it was in non-recurring. I put it.
Oh, okay. That's the server refresh.
Yep. It's in non-recurring. It's going to be in 2026, so 500,000.
Okay,
Exacom
thank you.
recorder. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks.
Mhm. All right, guys, moving on. Yeah, moving on, guys. Okay, moving on, guys.
Royce, for EMS and fire,
Mhm.
the 220 for EMS and 200 for fire's Viper, that's going to be encumbered once that contract is signed.
Yeah, that's my intention. That's the email I sent out to all the PSAPs. That's the main contract that I'm looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, to at least encumber that initial year of the contract, and that would free up about $400,000 next year. And that's where I was kind of looking that we can increase our reserve a little bit more, and I was hoping to give back at least 18,000 to each agency for conference travel. So that's
Yep.
still pending. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, once I get the forecast and then I get the finalized for the amount of unused funds, then hopefully we can get that done. But I'm working with Tony Velasco on that.
And tentatively, that contract is 5 years.
I believe so, 5 years. Yeah, same as last time.
Got it. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's 5 years.
Oh, great. Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
You guys moving forward, non-recurring. Okay, moving forward, guys.
Yeah, this is Stephen. I just have a general question because
Mhm.
when I look at things like the maintenance cost, in particular within the counties, some of them because I know the state has kind of left them the same going all the way across. And I guess in most cases, I would expect an increase each year. But I guess that's the only thing that kind of bothers me because I know there's always going to be an increase, but I'm just saying it just stays flat in a number of cases.
I think that's just due to the length of the contract. Because most of the time, that's why it's pretty static. Because most of the contracts are about like 5 years.
Okay.
That's why you see like HPD's one. They're predicting their new contract to be about 500,000 per year for their CAD maintenance. That was their big project ending. That's why from 2018 from the upgrade.
I think you see gradual increases in the maintenance contracts, especially for CAD.
Yeah, Royce is right. This is Sean from Hallmark Fire. So like for like fire, we usually do like a incremental increase, but some of the items, like for example, the premier responder, our contract ends this fiscal and next fiscal it stays static at 6,500. So something similar to that.
But I guess when I say yes, some maintenance, so I guess I have to make an assumption that they may have a multi-year contract because I'm looking at some of them and it's just staying the same.
Yeah, majority of the contracts are about like 4 to 5 years.
Okay.
Any other questions, guys? No, I'm gonna move to the next slide. Yeah, so hopefully, I can give at least 18,000 back. So that's 4 people, 4,500 per head. Doesn't matter how you use it. I mean, any conference you guys want to do, mix and match, that's totally fine. Um, but yeah, once I get the final numbers and let everybody know, then I'll reach out to all you guys. But just keep in mind which conferences. Ready and last slide. The APCO courses. I did talk to David. I think we had it at $399 last year. So Dave Lynn calculated the tax, so that's gonna be fully covered now. So you guys don't have to pick up that. I mean, something small, but I just changed it on the budget for you guys. That's it, I believe.
Awesome. Thanks, Royce. Any other questions or comments?
This is Eddie. I just one comment, and it's kind of relating to Stephen's question on adding increased costs every fiscal year for some of the items. So while I was at EMS, we did reach out to some of the vendors, especially the CAD software vendors, to see if we could do a master agreement to lock in costs for 5 years at a time. And they told us that they wouldn't do it, that there's a industry standard that they follow with pricing. And what they said was they didn't want to lock into a master agreement because they didn't know what increases would be passed on to them for conducting business, and that included wages, change in labor law, material shortages, rent. You know, if they had a fire and it destroyed a data center. So they said what they do is they look across the industry and they average out the price increases. So that price increase average between 2.5 and 5% per year. So I know for fire and EMS, we passed on that increase about 5% each fiscal year to keep pace with what we anticipated the increases to be. So we did try to lock in master agreements so we could encumber those costs, but we just couldn't do it.
Thanks, Eddie. That's good info for everyone. Any other questions or comments?
I have one question. This is Sean from Honolulu Fire. This is for the APCO recertifications. Are we required, like we had a chance now that we've been on that APCO for a couple of years. I see value, I guess, in the initial portion of getting the dispatcher certificate, as is for, new dispatchers. It goes over like, the tone of the calls and how to talk cordially to individuals. But I don't know if I see any value in maintaining the certificate, because it's pretty administratively, it's cumbersome. Every year you gotta log in 48 hours or every other year you gotta log in 48 hours of credits, and you gotta keep a log. And is there a requirement, like, I know we're pursuing this as kind of like a state, but is there a requirement in maintaining the certs?
Hey, Sean.
I do not. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Stephen.
I apologize. I think that's something that for the rest of the civilian dispatchers, it would give justification to them and to others to recognize them as first responders because they are certified. For those sworn like you guys, you guys have the ability already because you guys are already sworn. But the civilian people are struggling, the dispatchers are struggling to be recognized as first responders. And having this certificate, not only individually, but as a state, will help the state to be recognized. I do know it's cumbersome. I do understand that, and it's an added burden for you guys. But personally, I think that the county PSAPs that have civilian personnel in there should continue to be active in this and continue to get that certification. It might not be. I'm not sure if it helps anything for you guys because you guys are already as first responders, right? So that's my feeling on how I think it should be looked at for us.
Okay, understood. And maybe I was just kind of like gonna explore the fact that APCO does have like other venues of, I guess, more specific call taking, like a fire side or a medical side, and maybe that was more pertinent in having recertifications for, rather than the generic initial dispatcher course, which all the guys here already have experience with already. So
Right.
just exploring that option, if it was necessary to maintain this certificate because we purchased it with 911 funding, or can we kind of explore different avenues within the APCO realm of education to kind of maybe be more specific with our recertifications or training. That's all. But thank you. Yeah, I understand. I mean, it's good as a state, I guess, being certified as a state that all the PSAPs are. So okay.
Yeah, but I do understand where you're going from, where you're headed to, and I think that would be an option. But I guess that would be a discussion that would have to be approached with the board. But and this is just me, okay? Kauai, Honolulu, Hilo, you guys have a say in this. I mean, I'm not the only one, but this is my thoughts and my feelings for what I want for our people as a state.
Yeah, understood. And you know how it goes, right? That APCO recertification is kind of like cumbersome. So
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Can I ask a question? Stacy from Hilo Fire. Is it required that we do that APCO training, because we have a contract as an agency with Priority Dispatch, and they have an emergency telecommunicator certification. Is it agreed upon that we have to use APCO, or if we have a similar type of training that allows for the certification, can we go with a different vendor?
This is Eddie. So Honolulu EMS, we don't use APCO, or they don't use APCO. They use Priority Dispatch for they have the medical Priority Dispatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at the time when the PSAPs was deciding, I think it was like, if you guys want to jump on, you can jump on and do this program. If you guys, I guess, didn't have a program that's existing in your agency already. So that's why Honolulu Fire kind of jumped at the chance of getting this dispatcher training, because we didn't have anything in place as far as the initial dispatcher training.
Got it.
Right, okay, thank you. So I guess my question would be, if we're not using APCO, but it's a line item in our budget, can we use those funds to pay for a different agency similar certification? Or were we looking at continuity for the entire state to be with APCO?
I think my understanding is the standards are written generically. We'll have to, I don't think there's any reference to a vendor in like the statutes, so I don't think that would be an issue. We can make sure, but that should be fine. I would just maybe when you submit your budget requests, call that out to Roy so he can edit that line for you. But as long as you're meeting the certificate, there's multiple vendors that can ensure you guys are meeting the requirements for, the Disability Acts and all the federal laws that are implicated with training.
Yeah, this is Francis. The only advantage would be if we're able to cut costs, right? If we needed to cut costs and get one approach and reduce the cost overall for all the training across the PSAPs.
Yeah, if it's the same price for one course and you can fit all the folks into it or something, that may be good to know. Do you guys have a good understanding? Do you always pay per person, and do you get rate discounts for group rates and that sort of thing?
Right now, we're just paid per person and there's no food break. But it's just like we were talking about earlier, you can sign in with like, it could be a 5-year contract where we can budget so much money towards the training and then they just give you the training vouchers for all the different aspects of the training that they offer.
Is the cost similar to what they're charging us from APCO?
Yeah, it's pretty similar.
That's what I was going to say. Basically, if the costs are, relatively similar, I think that if the PSAP should be able to choose their own vendors. If there's a big cost disparity, I think the board would be interested in that. So if it's similar cost, that should be fine.
If I may, I've actually taken, this is Diana from Honolulu EMS. I've actually taken both courses from Priority Dispatch and from APCO. They're comparable. You basically get the same information. It's extremely basic call taking how-tos and basic technology of call taking processes. And Peter cites the whole, the process basically from picking up the 911 call and how it's routed and all of that stuff. So you get the same, you basically learn the same stuff of either course. They're extremely comparable. And the cost is comparable as well, as you guys stated. Now, and I'm sorry, I haven't been here in like forever, but some of you do know me. How's it? But speaking to David's point, if I can add this, I think just from a personal standpoint, I think it's a great idea if we actually stayed on a singular platform so that we can say as a state that we are, all of our telecommunicators have been certified on this particular platform, and then our lay people, for lack of a better term at the moment, maintain their certifications, but the ones that are sworn, as she states, we have alternate training, so we don't necessarily have to maintain that certification, but we have been certified in it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Anybody? Crickets?
That makes sense to me. I would probably defer to the PSAPs if they all agree that they want to use this.
I'm just thinking that, like, collectively, to be able to say that as a state, all of our telecommunicators have taken this, and we can say that, as a united front type of thing, that's where we're at, and we're all on the same page for that. And then as she was saying, her concern that our lay people maintain that certification, so that's how they maintain their recognition as first responders. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. But I'm just saying, because I've actually taken both courses, that's my takeaway.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, folks, for the feedback. Any more questions or comments on that? Or the budget plan overall?
No.
If not, let's move into committee updates by committee chairs. David, Communications Committee.
Good morning, everyone. So first of all, the first thing on my list there is a statewide 911 outage from April 18th. Hointel, can I have somebody speak on behalf of this, please? Francis or Glenn?
Yeah, this is Francis.
Thank you.
So let's see, I apologize. So on April 18th, as David mentioned, we did have a 911 outage that lasted for about 2 hours. We were able to get all the PSAPs over to the white phones. During that time, we actually saw the system come back up on its own, and then we're able to reroute the traffic back to the within the 2 hours back to the 911 system. Our investigation with Intrado, it was that there were what we call F5 load balancers that, you know, for a lack of a better word, they got into it. They didn't fail. They didn't go hard down. They got into a communication state because they're an HA pair, or two devices, and they got into a communication state that seems that one thought the other one was taking the call and the other one wasn't. And so during that time frame, the call processing stopped. They really haven't identified a bug. It's something we've not seen ever in terms of these HA or these load balancers. These F5s are pretty, you know, high availability, high reliability. There were no alarms, at least identified. You know, it was more of an observation that the calls stopped rather than getting an alarm. Intrado is putting in what we call a trap, or something that will collect if they see the two F5s get into this communication state again. It'll send a trap up to their NOC as an alarm. We've asked Intrado about replacing them. They are part of the equipment that, if you remember last month, I talked about the A911 call routing being upgraded next year. They would be part of that upgrade. I've asked whether or not we should upgrade them or at least replace them before that time frame. They're going to get back to us next week. I had a bit of a concern because the feedback was that the call processing or the call may go back to the mainland, which is not what I expected. So I need to understand that a little more on what their plan would be. They have not, you know, we asked, usually you can, you know, whenever there's an issue in the network, we like to try to see if we can replicate the scenario or the situation in the lab. They have not been able to replicate it in their lab with these balancers. So don't really know, you know, really what caused the state or why it got into that state. And then, you know, I don't know if it's just the way that it was designed that they got out of that state a few minutes later. Yeah.
So
Any
Brad-
questions? Oh, go ahead. Sorry, David.
So that had nothing to do with the Lumen incident that was up in the mainland that was occurring just before.
No, it was just bad timing. Yeah, that was, we had heard about the lumens one actually in the morning, and I had asked F, hey, can you find out what caused the lumen issue? For what we found out on the lumen side, it sounded like more of a cable cut is what I would have, based on the feedback I saw about a light pole being installed, that usually indicates some kind of cable cut. It is a bigger question personally for me to Intrado and others about, you know, you hear about a cloud type of environment and a cable cut takes down multiple states. So I really need to understand that as we start to go to next gen 911, because we will be, you know, part of that, as I mentioned, some of that processing or some of that information will come from the cloud. So it's kind of concerning that a cable cut can impact these multiple states, in fact, right? It's not just a geographic area, you know, it's an actual multiple states. So some plans to talk to Intrado at NINA on that and understand that whole platform.
Do
Or
you think
like how they had it.
Do you think it would have been beneficiary to Hawaiitel if they had put out a press release regarding the incident that we experienced here in Hawaii had nothing to do with the Lumen incident? Because it seemed like it was, people were trying to attach that to what was happening.
Yeah, we not necessarily Intrado. It would have been as the 911 provider for the state, it's our responsibility. We did get inquiries from the press and from the governor's office and the emergency management folks, and we specifically on that, hey, was it related to anything on the Lumen side? And we kind of responded in the next day on that. Once we were comfortable, we kind of knew, but we had to get some feedback from Intrado before we said so. But yeah.
Exactly. Well,
Yep.
thank you, sir. I appreciate that. 911 Telecommunicators Week. I know all of us had celebrated our PSAPs. That's the reason why we have this board, and right, support the people that work in the PSAPs. Well, I had joined a call on Tuesday, and they're talking about what's happening in DC, and I was researching some things, and I came across a couple of things, and I'll send it to Royce and have Royce disseminate it. One was recognizing 911 dispatchers during National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And this was Norma Torres. She's the one that brought in the 911 CARES Act. And she stood on the floor in the Congress saying that, you know, acknowledging our 911 dispatchers nationwide. And one of her last sentences in her her speech is, well, let me go back. Part of it was, every single day, 911 dispatchers talk to people during the most difficult times in their lives. Despite their hard work, 911 dispatchers are classified as clerical workers, making them first on the chopping block for budget cuts. Hey, hello. Leading to staffing shortages and already a stressful job. For this reason, I urge Congress to pass my 911 Saves Act to honor 911 dispatchers with a well-deserved reclassification. So everything is still much alive up there in the DC regarding that. I also came across a congressional record in the House from Jill Tokuda that came out on March 7th. And a lot of it was in regards to the fires here on Maui, but her last sentences in here was, all those who answer the call when we need them the most deserve to be recognized for what they truly are, first responders. That is why I'm proud to co-sponsor the bipartisan 911 Saves Act, led by Representatives Norma Torres and Brian Fitzpatrick. In honor of all of our dispatchers, it is our turn to answer the call and pass the 911 Saves Act. So, you know, they're pushing for us. We just have to keep pushing for ourselves. And that's what I love to do. That's why I irritate everybody. And I do a really good job of it, okay? But respectfully, I think that we all appreciate the dispatchers that we have that all answer the calls for 911. And, you know, it could be our family members that they're answering the call for, no matter what island, no matter what state, right? So I think that it's very important to continue to do this push, to have them recognized for the job that they do 24/7, 365. And that's all I have on 911 week. And the next thing I have is I'm seeking for volunteers for the communications committee. And a lot of it on this, and this is directed to our PSAPs, okay, and the managers there, the people that have the say. Most of these meetings, we have all our bosses in there, right? The bosses, the people who make the final decisions. But we don't have any line personnel in here that can share their feelings with them. I'm sorry, I do apologize if I missed a couple of you, Diana. Sorry. But, you know, it's them who are on the line there that a lot of times there's decisions or, you know, products that people come and they want to discuss on the 911 board, and they're telling them, you know, that this would be a good fit for you, right? And it's the dispatchers who would be on the line that would recognize if it would work for them. And I think that we should actively look at having some of our lines people join our call, even if it's just for an hour, you know, and have them join the committee or kind, so that I want them to have a say. I mean, we all have a say, and you know, it's like if something comes up, then you can turn around and say, "Hey, Lavina, what do you think? Do you think this will work for Kauai?" Or, you know, it's something that and having, there's only two of us right now on the communications committee, and it's me and Lavina, with Thal retiring. So I want to respectfully ask every PISA if they can consider having their personnel, their line personnel, join the call for at least an hour at our board meeting. Next month, I do know that we're all planning to be in Honolulu to see everybody in person. Yeah, I can't wait to see all you guys. But it's something that for the future, I would really want you guys to consider this, because they're the one that's going to help us get through. And they're our future. We have to remember that. We have to include them, because they're going to be the people that's going to be on behind there answering the calls and dispatching. And they should have a say in what their life will be like in the future. Okay. And I have one more thing. Okay, just one more. So I went through, when I was researching I joined a call the other day, and they were talking about bills that are very active in DC right now. And so I went and I pulled it to see what it was all about and how it affects Hawaii. So of course there's the 911 Saves Act. This is the one with Norma Torres. And right now we have 130 co-sponsors in there. They're still pushing this along. Okay, it's still being discussed. And from Hawaii, we have Jill Takuda in there. Okay, she's the only, and this is the House Bill 6319, 911 Saves Act of 2023. And then we have HR 2763. It's a Protect the 911 Act. And this one was introduced on April 20th, 23 by Representative Robin Kelly from Illinois. And this one is a bill to establish a grant program that requires the Department of Health and Human Services to develop resources for addressing mental health conditions among public safety telecommunicators, dedicated solely to telecommunicators. Well, it has this. These include 911 operators and other public safety personnel who are responsible for responding to requests for emergency response assistance. So I take that back. It includes all emergency responders. At this time, this was announced in April 2023. As of Tuesday, she has 12 co-sponsors. And the last one we have here is HR 6415, Care for First Responders. This was introduced by our own Jill Takuda, and this was November 14 of 2023. As of today, they just added one more to her list, and she has 42 co-sponsors. And this bill overall is to take care of all emergency responders. Everyone who responds to something who has for mental health, make sure that they have mental health, ability to seek mental health and to have that paid for them. And of this bill, she has 42 co-sponsors. One of them is Ed Case. Matthew, I know that's your friend. And of course, Jill Takuda introduced this call. So there's a lot that's being discussed for our 911 responders. We haven't been put to bed yet. So just a reminder that things are going. And Sean, that's why I'm very, more so right now, I'm pushing for us to maintain our certifications. And it might be the single push that we need to get there a recognition that we need for our people. Any questions for me? That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Oh, I'm sorry, Davelyn, what was the House bill on the 911 Saves Act and the
that one is 619.
619, and then the mental health one?
The first mental health one was 2763.
Okay.
And that one is from Robin Kelly, introduced April 20th of 23. And
okay.
Jill Takuda's one was 6415.
Oh, 1515. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you, Corey.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Moving on to the technical committee, Sean.
Thank you, Chair, and thanks, Davey. Honolulu Fire will retain its certifications. I just wanted to discuss the Public Safety Power Shutoff Initiative by HECO. So it's been in the news already, right? So, and it's on their website. And what the PSPS is HECO would shut off the power in certain areas before extreme weather events. Basically on red flag days where there's a heightened increase of brush fire with low humidity and high wind. The problem is it's a short notice, 24-hour notice to cut power, but this outage might last, several days because they have to inspect the lines thoroughly before they turn on the power. As you know, that this is going to lead to probably a trickle-down effect for all services. And this will affect all counties except for Kauai. As I understand, Kauai is on a different power plant. So they do have maps on HECO's website. So I encourage the counties to go check out these maps and see how your county is going to be affected by this. We've already had meetings. We have what's called an interagency communications group. Oahu does for all the Honolulu PSAPs. As we were trying to find a way for the agencies to communicate, let's say in a worst dark sky scenario where a hurricane, plows the island and we lose network, radio, and cell phone service. So we had this group in place, and last week we met and we decided to focus on this PSPS initiative, which is similar, right? Now you're just kind of focusing on a part of the island instead of the whole island. So we invited DIT, Honolulu DIT Radio Network. We invited Hawaiian Tel to kind of chime in and give them a scenario, like we're out of power for 3 days. How is it going to affect 911? How is it going to affect the cell phone towers, right? Does the cell phone towers have significant infrastructure to, keep service going for those 2 to 3 days? We're just assuming that, every cell phone tower has a generator or can maintain service. So I've extended an invitation to Corey, Verizon, Nani Blake, Liz, Greg from AT&T, and Rebecca from Spectrum for Network to kind of chime in to see, what gaps we got to prepare for in case this power shutoff is initiated as soon as July 1st. I understand. So I'll keep everybody in the loop, but encourage maybe other counties, if they're not already done so, have these discussions now rather than later. And that's pretty much my update. Thank you, Chair. And
thanks, Sean. I would just add that HECO has proactively reached out with the specific circuits that are on the list to the service providers to gather the information to determine what is their backup today and how critical are those circuits. So my understanding is, if carrier A says, oh, we have generators there, that's not critical for us, but we don't have a generator over here, that is more critical. So hopefully when that data is all compiled, HECO will be able to at least hit the most critical circuits first in terms of reprioritizing, because it's going to take resources to turn these things back on. So that's a very smart approach, and that is underway. But yeah, there's a lot of other things to discuss. So I think it's good that we're all on the same page and we understand what all the different agencies and companies are doing relative to PSPS. And there's quite a bit of experience because California has been doing this for years. So a lot of the mobile operators operate in California as well. So we have a lot of lessons learned there that we can share. So any other questions or comments on this? Is a good topic. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, this is Francis from Hawaiian Telecom's perspective. We're aware of and taking a look at what plans, we're treating it as a pretty big event, not just a normal commercial power outage. So we're putting our plans together on how to respond to that. There's a bunch of, we've got some internal meetings going on along with participating in the Oahu County meetings as well. So, yeah, we're aware of it. But thanks, Sean.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, encourage like I know I had replies from all the cell phone service providers, and I encouraged all of them to kind of show up and be there, to kind of present what's going to happen or at least their point of view for this PSPS event. Yeah, that's all I had. So I'll move on to if Rebecca had any updates for the advisory committee. Rebecca.
Yes. Legislative session is over, which is very exciting. Our bill made it across the finish line, so it's going to get signed by the governor, or not, but it still will pass as long as the governor doesn't veto it. But Royce has indicated to the governor, please do not veto this bill. It's a really good one. So what we thought was just going to be a simple little administrative bill, it's never simple. But thank you to Royce and Tony and everyone who helped and submitted testimony. And certainly this was good practice for us if we ever want to go back into the ledge and ask them to make the PSAP operators emergency responders, or anything like that. We've definitely built some good relationships. We talked to some folks who have some interesting feelings about the 911 surcharge. But it's going to remain the same as the big news. We convinced them not to change that. So good news all around. So thank you to everyone who helped.
Great job, folks. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. I think that's all for the technical committee. Off to the finance committee. Chair, thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Eddie, any finance committee updates for us?
Good morning. Good morning. This is our report, cash flow analysis for the month ending April 30th, 2024. Our year-to-date prior month was $9,318,918. Interest income was $1,081,077. Total receipts is $10,399,995. For the month of April ending on the 30th, our collection was $999,446. Interest income is pretty steady, $118,934. Total receipts for the month of April was $1,118,380. As far as our cash flow disbursements, our net encumbrances paydowns was $620,616. Net cash outflow was $310,750. Year to date, our beginning balance was $37,221,708. Our current net bank balance is $41,493,695. Our outstanding encumbrances is $8,345,249. Unencumbered cash balance is $33,148,446. So this year, we've been enjoying pretty good interest income, and as Roy said, the forecast is for the Feds to lower interest rates. So our net income per month should be declining slightly. We should see it by the end of this fiscal calendar year. And that's it.
Thank you, Eddie. All right, moving on to PSAP updates, starting with Kauai Police Department.
Yeah, good morning. This is Darren. Nothing's changed here from last month and the prior months. We're still at 50% staffing levels and have no applicants coming in. Other than that, nothing new.
Thank you, sir. HPD.
It's Captain Carrera. So we're still at we actually decreased a little bit. We're at 37% now, so getting a little worse. We had one person take a voluntary resignation to go work in the evidence room for some reason. And then if you guys saw in the Star Advertiser, yeah, we had a couple articles out there, and then on KITV all about our staffing issues. So we're doing what we can, but still no applicants getting through as well.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. Honolulu Fire.
Thank you, Chair. Nothing further to add. We maintain the same staffing as the previous month. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. Oahu EMS.
Good morning. Right now we still have 8 vacancies. We recently had a recent transfer from one of our dispatch supervisors was transferring to a 5th supervisor position. It's like an admin supervisor to assist with our CAD systems. Other than that, we're still holding at 8 vacancies. That's it.
Thank you. Maui PD, Molokai PD.
Thank you, sir. Right now, I have 8 in the process of finishing their applications. And I have 10 that we offered that they are working on submitting their personal history questionnaire. So there's hope for me yet. You know, there's always hope, right? So if everything goes well, I'm looking at starting a class either in mid-June or early July. And you know, we're just making sure that all these people come through. That's the most important thing. But that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, David. And Hawaii Fire. Oh, sorry, Hawaii Police Department.
Hi, good morning, this is Rob. For Hawaii Police Department, we did start a class of 2 on May 1st, and we are looking at starting another class, so doing back-to-back classes on like June 3rd, if all goes well. And we're looking at having 2 more people with that class also. So with the 4, we will go from 14 vacancies down to 10. So taking little chunks away, you know, but everybody counts, you know. So they're doing well. People in training doing well now, and we did add a second trainer to help with the training, so that has also benefited our PSAP also. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And Hawaii Fire.
Good morning, this is Stacy. We have our 9 dispatchers with the additional 5 trainees that started in March. And we just did a realistic job preview. 13 people showed up, and we're hoping to hire for the first week of September. And in that class, we're expecting to have positions for 4 to 5 of those 13 that completed the realistic job preview. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Moving on, items for discussion, consideration, and action. Any additional items proposed? Hearing none. Announcements. Next virtual meeting date. And this is the in-person meeting, right? June 13th. So looking forward to see you folks there. And then future conference dates, 3 months advanced approval required. NINA, June 28th to July 3rd in Kissimmee, Florida, and APCO August 4th through the 7th in Orlando. Open forum public comment on issues not on the board meeting agenda. Hearing none, we're looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion, Corey. It's Tony.
Thank you, Tony. Can I get a second?
This is Francis. I'll second.
Thank you, Francis. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Meeting is adjourned. We'll talk to you folks in about 5 minutes for the board meeting. Thank you. Hey, Royce. You ready to get started again?
Yes, sir. Whenever you are.
Excellent. Better pull up the right agenda here. All right, let's call to order this meeting of the Enhanced 911 Board. It is May 9th. We have public notice. Public testimony will be taken on all agenda items as those items occur during the meeting. Can we please get a roll call, Royce?
Yes, sir. Starting off, Francis is still here. Lonnie Blake is not here. Dahlia is not here. Steven is still here. Diana Chan, are you still here? Diana?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Ruth Cruz. Stacy
Here.
Dominguez.
Sorry, Ruth Cruz here.
Stacy, you still here?
I'm still here. Thank you.
Thank you. Eddie Fujioka.
I'm here.
Thank you. Robert Fujitake.
Here.
Thank you. Liz is here. Ji Suk is here. Matt, are you still here? Captain Kurihara?
Yeah, he's here. Just went to the bathroom real quick.
Okay, thank you, Calvin. Todd, are you still here, Todd? Glenn Kobashigawa.
Yes, sir, here.
You, Sean Kuratani.
Still here, Royce.
Thank you. Buck Giles.
Yep, still here. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca is here. Reed is here. Lauren Okumura.
Here.
Thank you. Greg Nkiola is not here. Darren Rose.
I'm still here.
Thank you. Calvin Sung is here. Corey Schaefer is here. Kennison, I saw you. Thank you. Tony Velasco.
I'm here, Royce. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Okay, we have quorum for the board.
Thank you, Royce. Moving on, could I please take a moment to review April's meeting minutes? I will be looking for a motion to approve.
Hey, Corey, sorry to interrupt. This is Jeffrey. I'm on the call now. Royce, you as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff.
This is Rebecca. I'll make the motion to approve the April meeting minutes.
Thank you, Rebecca. Can I get a second?
This is all second.
Thank you, Liz. All those in favor of approving April's meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. April's meeting minutes are approved. Moving on to committee updates by committee chairs. Davelin, any further updates from the Communications Committee?
Nothing further to add, sir. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Sean, anything further from the Technical Committee?
Thank you, Chair. Nothing to add.
Excellent. And Eddie, anything further from finance?
Nothing further, Chair.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to PSAP updates, starting with Kauai Police Department.
Nothing new to add.
Thank you. HPD.
As I've been getting older, performance in bed does go down, but with activation clinics for side during
Matt, are you still with us?
Oh, this is Calvin Song. We got nothing more to add, sir.
Okay, thank you. Honolulu Fire, Sean?
Nothing further to add, sir.
Thank you. Oahu EMS?
Nothing more to add.
Thank you. Maui PD, Molokai PD?
We're good, sir. Thank you.
Excellent. Hawaii Police Department?
Nothing to add. Thank you.
And Hawaii Fire Department?
Nothing to add, thank you.
Thank you, folks. Okay, Executive Director's report. Anything further, Royce?
Yes, sir. So yeah, I already talked about the procurement for the new auditor. Yeah, so I'll get the final number of what I'll request for the board for the contract in our June meeting. And the next one, I just wanted to let everybody know I'm gonna be out of office from the 15th to the 20th. So 4 days, just a quick short vacation. But I will have my work cell phone. I'll still answer emails, text, phone. So any problems, just give me a call.
Royce, you should be on vacation. You shouldn't be checking your email.
I'm the only person here, so I don't think I can do that.
I was gonna say if Royce, if I encourage you to unplug, and anybody that needs anything urgently can call me, and if it's deemed necessary enough, I can call you. So
Okay,
no,
thank you, sir. Thank you.
take your stuff with you and take.
You
take a
worked hard.
proper-
You deserve a break.
Exactly. Take some proper time.
Yeah. Well, thank you, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to say again, thank you to the board. You know, actually officially make 1 year as the executive director this month. So, you know, thank you.
Yay.
Thank you for all you guys support. Even the people on the committees and stuff like that, the people I bug all the time, even guys like Dave Lynn. But yeah, thank you guys.
You're doing a great job. Thank you, Royce. Cool. So yeah, if anybody has any needs this week or that week, and you won't be able to get a hold of Royce, so call me, and I have Royce's number if it's an emergency. But I think we can give him 1 week off. So awesome. Thank you, Royce.
Thank you, sir.
Anything else? Okay, sounds like you're good. Any other items for discussion, consideration, and action? I see HFD, Hawaii Fire Department has a request on here.
Hi, yeah, we just were gonna ask if we could take money that's been allotted for one of the conference, the Motorola Spillman, and then apply it to the NINA conference so that we can send 2 personnel to the NINA.
Yeah, that shouldn't be an issue. Do we need to vote on that?
There's no request for funding or anything like that, Corey, but I just wanted to put it on there just for you guys, just to have it on record.
Okay.
Just some questions.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's any issues with that. Any questions or concerns about this transfer from one conference to another conference? Cool. Any other items for discussion, consideration, and action? If not, moving on to announcements. We'll see you folks next month, June 13th, 9 a.m. Future conference dates: NINA, June 28th to July 3rd in Kissimmee, Florida. APCO, August 4th to the 7th in Orlando. And open forum. Any public comment on issues not on the board meeting agenda today?
Nope.
If not, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
This Reed, I make the motion.
And I'll
Thank
second.
you, Reed. All right. Thank you, Reed. Thank you, Rebecca. All those in favor of adjourning the meeting, please say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for your time and attention.
Thank you, everyone.
We will,
Thank
we
you.
will
See everybody next
Bye.
month.
next month.
Bye.
All right. See you, folks.
Have a good vacation, Rice.